Alright guys, so today we're going to be talking about Annie. Should you pull for Annie or should you save your zest? So just to clarify, I'm actually not a free-to-play player. I'm actually a goldfish. So from time to time I do spend some money, but we're gonna go into it. Okay, so let's look at her fate core. So she's right here. So usually I would say I only try to look for design on characters that I like, or I usually look for these right here. So you see this golden banner right here? Usually they have OP skills with these kind of golden banner, but if you go to her, she has a black border rather than a gold border. So you usually want to pay for that. Usually top tiers banners are usually the golden banners, but the black one, I think they're kind of like secondary. But that's just my opinion. So if you look at her skill, she has a mana utilization too. It's basically just like increased damage to 200 against monomos with fire, and it kind of gives you just basically mana. It's okay. I mean, it's not really a great deal or anything, but what's really good is the burning soul. Basically she gives like 3 mana per round, and it also grants 300% increased critical hit for 2 turns and damage immunity. This skill is pretty OP. And let's see, and the second skill set that she has is the crazy parrot. Basically it deals 100% damage to one enemy. It's not that big of a deal, but to be able to silence somebody for 5 turns is super good, right? But then unless if they have cleanse, right? If they have cleanse, then you pretty much can't do anything to it, right? This skill is basically useless. And this skill right here deals 357 damage to all enemies for her third skill. I said this skill is good for against team that is not Dragon Blood, because if you use this skill, basically you kill yourself. If they have like Dragon Blood team, usually a lot of people in PvP, they have 2 Dragon Blood teammates. So if you use a skill, they'll just counter you and you just instantly die. So I think this is another reason why I think you shouldn't pull for her, because a lot of time you go in team for PvP, you usually see people having 3 DPS. Okay, let's look at the arena. Let's look at the arena and see the ideal team that usually people have. For me, it's usually you have to have a tank, a DPS, a healer. That's the bare minimum, right? Let's look at the ranking number 1 guy, right? So this guy has a tank, a healer, DPS, DPS, DPS. So he has basically 3 DPS, right? Alright, let's look at the second guy. Tank, DPS, no. Oops, wrong one. Healer, DPS, 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 DPS. So this guy has basically no tank at all. He just goes straight for pure damage, take out whoever he wants right away. Same thing, healer, and then 3 DPS. So let's look at the first guy. So usually a lot of people go against a team like this. Usually you have Yulun and Patari. These two are really good because with her, she has this passive basically like, let's just say you're trying to take out Xeon, right? And you're like, man, he's almost close to death, right? If you're using Annie to buff one of your best characters to try to take out Xeon with one shot, one blow, right? You're not gonna be able to take this guy out because her passive right here, with Ori, she has Tranquil, basically prevents them from death one turn, right? So you can't kill him. On top of that, you have this tank. She's gonna taunt you because basically, if an ally is being attacked and they're like their health drop below 30%, right? She's gonna basically taunt all your enemies to attack her. And when you're trying to kill her, if she loses life at a certain percentage, she basically has a regen skill, so it's harder to take her down. And then you have this healer basically on top of that. She will basically fully heal her. So basically, the person that you're trying to kill, you can't kill it anymore, right? So usually, if you're gonna summon for Annie, you would probably need 3 DPS healer. I mean 3 DPS to basically kill somebody, at least a minimum, right? Because think about this, you have a tank, a healer, and let's just say you have 2 DPS, a DPS, a DPS, and then you have Annie, right? Imagine if they have a faster team comp, they will probably take out your Annie first because she's the biggest threat, right? So if she's taken out, now you have to fight against a harder comp which have a tank and a healer and 3 DPS. So like you're now versusing 4 versus 5 comp basically. And I think that is something that you want to ask yourself, like, is that, do you have a solid team yet? Like, do you have a good solid tank, a good solid healer, at least a minimum of 2 good DPS? If you have it, then I would definitely suggest to pull her. But for me, I definitely wouldn't consider pulling her because she's good and all, but she's actually really slow on her speed. So let's look at some of the characters that I have, right? I could technically use Garf. Majority of the time people use Garf, right? Because Garf is really good. He grants, if you're gonna pull any, you need to have Garf in your team. If you don't have Garf, don't pull for her. Because basically he grants let's look at him real quick. He basically grants protection against your weakest unit, basically, right? And Annie is very squishy, by the way. So he grants 30% of the max cast. Wait, 30% of the caster current health at the beginning of the round. So basically, he's really good. Like, he basically protects, right, your character from dying. So if you don't have Gaff, is that how you say his name? But if you don't have him, I definitely recommend don't pulling for him. Like for me, my setup is basically a healer, 2 tanks, right, and then 2 DPS. Because if they're trying to kill my main DPS, I have Gaff to take off some of the damage, and then I have Yulum to basically taunt after that, right? So then Gaff basically would not be target to take the damage from my DPS, and then Yulum will take the second absorb damage, and then basically my healer will heal my whole team up again. So even for a pay to win player, even with this amount of zest I have been saving, I wouldn't pull for Annie. That's just my opinion. I'm waiting for a better character, or a character that I like with really good designs that would somewhat help me win PvP, then I would pull for her or him, right? But for Annie, I would totally skip on this banner because it's basically telling free-to-play players like, oh, if you want to counter Dragon Blood team, right, pull for Annie. But a lot of people don't know that you really need a solid foundation character team that you're already having in the first place, right, in order to pull her. But if you don't have a solid team, then don't pull her because it's just gonna be not worth it because they're just gonna nuke out your Annie and then you have nothing left to win. It's basically like a 4v5 team. Okay, well that's my input. Okay, all right, well until next time, have a great day. Bye.